Shalom, family, and
Shalom.
welcome to another new moon, new month observation, which is commanded of us, of our Creator Yahweh, that we should have a holy convocation. And we all know as we continue to go through the new moons that this helps us to keep track of our holy days. So as we continue to do these observations, and as our people do what Yahweh says, we understand that this helps us along the way with figuring out our holy days and being in tune to thus says Yah. Tonight's topic is called Help Meet Man's Other Half. The way this came about is we all know that Yahweh will kind of just agitate you with certain things. And at some point, if we haven't learned, or if you're being agitated with certain situations or certain videos, maybe Yahweh's pushing you to do some research, to put something together so you can get an understanding of what the agitation is from these videos. This class came about from a couple of videos I saw where sisters have gone over to Israel and they've come back with a whole different attitude of, oh, why I left the Hebrew Israelites. And I watched one, and then one of the brothers sent me a video, and I'm like, well, what's going on with this whole thing? You know, in certain circumstances, when I look at their presentation after knowing that they went over there fully in culture, then they come back, the hair is out, everything is about me, and I'm saying, okay, well, maybe these were just some self-willed individuals. But then in some of them, there's this undertone of what they've experienced as far as running into the different brothers. You've got brothers out there that are marrying these sisters and then handing out a bill of divorce like it's a Hershey's Kiss and just throwing these sisters to the side. And despite them not walking in culture anymore, the point that I wanted to get at is our treatment as brothers with our sisters, our wives. So that's the topic of tonight, help meet man's other half. It says a helpmeet is Ezer Kenegdo, is the Hebrew word. It's helpmeet for him or helper for him, a helper for him. Ezer, we've heard this before, Ebenezer, not understanding that Ezer just means help. It comes from H25826. Abiezer, which is a name, just means father of help. So anytime we hear the word Ezer, just remember that it means help. And Neged, from when I said Ezer Kenegdo, Neged is a front, that is part of opposite. So we can understand Ezer Kenegdo, the opposite help. We recall that what was made for Adam, a helpmeet. And his helpmeet was the opposite of him and his physical structure. Now, brother, tonight we're going to get started in Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 18 through 25. Okay. Genesis chapter 2 and verses 18 through 25.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18. And Yahweh Elohim said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him.
And that's what he said, a helpmeet. I'll not make a servant for him or a maid for him. He said a helpmeet, someone to help him with his daily chores, someone to help him out with the task that he has. Go ahead.
And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to all the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmeet for him.
And we can see here, before he was given a helpmeet, before he was given a partner, he had a job. Go ahead.
And Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof.
Now, in this new creation that Yahweh just made came from the rib of man. When we go back up to verse 19, it says, and out of the ground Yahweh formed every beast of the field. Adam himself was created from the ground. So now you have this new creation that is not made the way that everything else was made. Go ahead.
And the rib, which Yahweh Elohim had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man.
Now, even with this, it says a rib was taken from Adam. And interestingly enough, yesterday the brothers was all talking, and we found out one of the brothers said, do you know that there's a specific rib that a brother can lose and it will grow back? Mm-hmm. And we're all sitting there like, what do you mean? So that piqued my interest to go home and research it. And there is a specific rib that can be removed from every male and it will grow back. So it goes to show you that even when Yahweh created Adam, he knew what he could do with his creation. Mm-hmm. He took out a rib and this specific rib grew back. When you look at it, this has been going on for a long time where doctors, when it comes to bone grafting, have been taking that same bone from man. I read an article where a gentleman got into an accident and he said, months upon months of facial creation, bone reconstructing, he kept seeing that they kept going back into this same little area. So he asked the doc, what are you doing? He said, oh, we've been going there and taking out your rib to do the bone grafting. And he said, oh no, we take the whole rib out. He said, because it grows back. So it goes to show you that Yahweh is a genius with his creation. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man.
And just to mention the fact of, I understand why a lot of our brothers and sisters on the internet, on the phones, are sending us emails saying, hey, I live in this state or I live in this country. Can you recommend a place? We can't, because we can't be accountable for what conversations happen after their cameras go off. We know when we sit down and have conversations, we're building. We don't know what kind of idle chatter might take place in a place that we might recommend for you to go. And then who are you going to say, well, Priest Esaac and Kishtim recommended me to go to this place. And there's nothing here but total chaos and mayhem. These brothers done married this same sister about 4 or 5 times. There is a benefit for being able to congregate, but it has to be in righteousness. It has to be with the intent that it's putting you further on your path to your salvation. Yeah, we have idle chatter, but we know when to toss that out and what not to take in. But everyone does not have that ability of reasoning. Go ahead.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
And that's the biggest problem in a lot of people's relationship. They don't know how to leave father and mother out of their relationship. Mm-hmm. So then they never become one flesh. Always divided because mother and father are in the picture. Go ahead.
And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
Now, speaking of becoming one flesh, let's go to Ephesians chapter 5, and we're going to read verses 20 through 33. That's Ephesians chapter 5, verse 20 through 33. Because remember what Adam said in verse 23. This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 20 through 33.
Verse 20. Giving thanks always for all things unto Elohim and the Father in the name of our Adonai Yeshua the Mashiach, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of Elohim. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Adonai. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as the Mashiach is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body.
And here's another situation where it's giving you a formula. The husband is the head of the wife, even as the Mashiach is the head of the church. And when you go to the modern day Christian church, it's mostly sisters that are running the church. But you still don't understand that the head of your household is your husband. So as much as love and feelings that you're showing towards the church, if you still can't get that simple formula together, you still have a problem. You still have a problem. Go ahead.
Therefore, as the church is subject unto the Mashiach, so let the wives be their own to their own husbands
So
in everything.
the church is subject to the Mashiach. That means the dealings, the runnings of the church, the things that go on in the church is subject to the Mashiach, which means you're subject to his commandments, his words, which he'll tell you is not his, it's my Father's. Go ahead.
Verse 25, husbands, love your wives, even as the Mashiach also loved the church.
Do you understand that? Do you understand the love that he has for the church? Can you step back and put yourself in and say, let me take care of my wife the way that he has taken care of the church? He gave his life. He shows pity. He shows mercy. He shows a strong hand when he needs to. But there's understanding and wisdom. Go ahead, my brother.
No, I was going to mention, when you consider the fact of, there's a time when Abraham had to listen to his wife.
Right.
And, a lot of times, husbands fear because they have a head over, their wives. They think, oh, well, what can this woman say?
Oh, we're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going to get there. Go ahead.
All right. Verse 26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing and water by the word. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle.
Can you look at how he's taking care of the church? Can we as husbands, can we as brothers say that we put that much time and dedication into making sure our wives are presented without spot? That our wives are looking regal? Or do we just think about ourselves first and then say, you show up however you want to show up? And to be honest, there's a time when we brothers used to show up however, and the sisters were always in culture. We walking in here with jeans and t-shirt. And I thank Priest Esaac for saying, hey brothers, well, what are you all thinking? Mm-hmm. It made us have to step our games up. Because the sisters was coming in here outdoing the brothers. We were showing up any kind of way. They were walking in culture and we were still walking like Negroes. But look at the care that it's saying that the Mashiach puts into the church. Do we turn around and look at the treatment that we're giving to our wives? Do we look at the care that we're giving to our daughters, our sisters, so they can present themselves without spot? Go ahead.
But that it should be holy and without blemish. Verse 28. So ought men to love their wives as
there he goes. He says, so we should love our wives in the same manner. Go ahead.
As their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
How many of us can actually say we love ourselves? Does it reflect in our wives? Does that love reflect in our wives? Go ahead.
For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Adonai, the church.
And that's what Adam said. This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. He was letting you know this belonged to me. You could hear there's some sense of pride in the way it was said. This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. This is of me. Go ahead.
For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother.
There we go again. We hear it again. Go ahead.
And shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning the Mashiach and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you, in particular, so love his wife, even as himself. And the wife see that she reverence her husband.
So it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Husbands should be looking out for their wives. Wives should be looking out for the husband. Hand in hand. It's your other half. Would you walk out with half of your clothes dirty and the other half clean? Make sure your other half looks like you when you walk out. Hey, we got a couple in here that I can tell you they walk out looking the same every time. Okay? Them two step out. If one got on purple, the other one got on purple. The other half looked just as well as the other half. They made sure the other half put on purple. Take care of your other half. Make sure it coincides with you and your reflection. It's also a reflection of you. And we got to think about one thing. Woman was made from man. Scientifically, man has both an X and a Y chromosome. Man holds the seed. So that means man has the possibility of making both male and female when it comes to procreation. A man carries both the X and Y chromosomes, while the woman only carries the X. So when a person says to you, get in touch with your feminine side, brothers, dig deep because it's there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I didn't say go become effeminate. I say get in touch with your feminine side. Mean have an understanding of your other half. Let's go to Genesis chapter 26 and we're going to read verses 7 through 9. Genesis chapter 26, and we're going to read just verses 7 and 9. And the reason I want to touch on this is, you know, as men, as black men, a lot of us grew up with this granite exterior that we must display. And this granite exterior can also hurt you. And it goes right back to getting in touch with your feminine side. There's a thing called PDA that a lot of brothers shy away from. For all who don't understand what that means, it's called public display of affection. Okay? We get to, I don't do that. Don't be touching my hand. Don't be holding my hand out in public. You trying to kiss me so people can see. Read, my brother.
Verse 7, Genesis 26 and verse 7. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, she is my sister. For he feared to say, she is my wife. Lest said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon.
So she was good looking, and he said, look here, just tell them you my sister, because they're going to kill me because they want you. This is a man who knows what he's got. And he's trying to keep what he's got. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when he had been there a long time.
I want you to pay attention to that. He had been there a long time. That means he got comfortable. He himself might have even forgotten what he told them. Go ahead.
That Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at a window and saw, and behold, Esau was sporting with Rebekah, his wife.
That means some public display of affection was going on. Okay? That man said, wait a minute. I thought he said that was his sister. What's going on down there? That don't look very brotherly and sisterly to me. Go ahead.
And Abimelech called Esau and said, Behold, of a surety she is thy wife. And how saidst thou, she is my sister? And Esau said unto him, Because I said, Lest I die for her.
Now, if this brother was showing a hard granite face, they would have never figured this out. But the brother was sporting with his wife. That means he was showing affection towards her out in public. We get this taboo thing as black males and thinking that's something that we shouldn't do. It's your other half. Are you ashamed of your other half? Let's go to Genesis chapter 29, and we're going to read verses 9 through 20. Genesis chapter 29. Just to show you that go ahead, my brother.
No, I mean, at the beginning, you were actually talking about, our culture and how, the sisters should be in, modest apparel.
Right.
And, we do see other nations out there or those who have other beliefs how their women should dress. And you do see where you have women that cover their face up.
Right.
But when you read that situation there with Rebecca, you can see clearly if they can view her that she's beautiful,
right,
that she's a fair woman to
right.
look upon, then there's no way her face would be covered
up. Then he wouldn't be concerned about that if her face was completely covered.
Exactly.
But just to touch on the same thing you're talking about, that was a part of our culture, but that woman was looked upon as something else.
Yeah.
When the face was completely covered.
Yes.
Go read about Tamar and you can figure that one out. But go ahead.
All right. Genesis chapter 29, verse 9 through 20. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother.
Now, it says that she kept her father's sheep, right? When he got into this family, that also became his job. Do you not think that she was a helpmeet unto him? That was a plus. In a situation like this, she already knows what to do and how to be a help to him. She can jump right in there. If he wake up one day and say, I'm not feeling well, don't worry about it. I got you. She was a plus. She was a helpmeet unto him. This is what his job was going to be for her father. Go ahead.
And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice.
He did what?
Kissed Rachel.
And they out by the well, right?
Right.
So they still out in public and some PDAs going on.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Verse 12. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him.
Now, this is one thing I heard Esau say, I don't see no brothers kissing no brothers. But he said he ran, so that means they still out in public. This is not far-fetched. If we look, we can see the Italians do this.
Yeah.
And where are they coming from? Go ahead.
And brought him to his house, and he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter.
And he said he loved her. Go ahead.
And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee, than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her.
So you can understand, when you're in love with your helpmeet, time passes like it's nothing. If you two have a relationship, time means nothing. This brother was truly in love. The time meant nothing to him. The labor meant nothing to him. Being with this young lady is what meant the most to him. How do we get thrown off into thinking that we can just disrespect the sisters and just pass them around? I think what happens is a lot of people forget your first meeting. And then you start taking for granted the time you're together. Remember the first meeting. Remember what it was that you loved about this person. That's where a lot of things go wrong, and a lot of us just get caught up in the fleshly moment because of this society that we were raised up into. For a lot of us men, by the time we get to that point, we don't know how to actually appreciate the person because we've had all these other frivolous relationships along the way. Because we've had no accountability in these past relationships. And it goes both ways. We get smitten, but then forget what it was that made your heart go pitter-patter or put that smile on your face. And then we become harsh towards one another. And I think this is what I'm getting from a lot of these sisters that I see on these videos saying why I left the Hebrew Israelites. Because we got this cold exterior, and brothers will unite with brothers, and a brother won't tell a brother, hey man, look at here, man. You need to take care of your household. Hey bro, you messing up. And I can tell you that we deal with that here as brothers, even with the brothers who have wives that are not in the word. Because she's not in the word, we're not going to tell you, hey man, don't worry. No, you still have an obligation. That's your wife. Go home and take care of your business. If she is pleased to dwell with you, take care of your business. At least she will be another one putting out why I left the Hebrew Israelite. I think we forget how to look at our wives, how to look at our Ishas and say, you know, you look good in that today. We forget how to go by and flirt. What you want? Nothing. I'm just flirting with you. And then we wonder all of a sudden why we go on at each other's throat. Because you forgot how you started that relationship. You forgot how you pursued and what you did while you were pursuing. I'm not going to tell you like the brother who said, I'm going to give you flowers every day. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I won't say that you can't do that every now and again. What's the occasion? Nothing. You just ran across my mind. I sent this to you. Ride by edible arrangements. Hey, I want to send this. Why you saying it's not my birthday? Hey, don't have to be a special occasion. Just letting you know I love you and I appreciate you. Another thing we also got to realize, a lot of brothers get on this tip about what a woman can and can't do when it comes to this word. Man, if you've got a helpmeet that's helping you walk in this word, you have to know how to cherish and appreciate that. Here's a couple of books and verses. We're not going to go to them. We're just going to read them. You guys can write them down. Go ahead, my brother. And these are husband and wives, a husband and wife in the word. It's on the paper. You don't have to go to it.
Oh, let's read it from.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Acts 18, in chapter 18, verse 2. And found a certain Yehudi named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Yehudis to depart from Rome, and came unto them.
So him and his wife came from Italy. I mentioned the Italians earlier about kissing. Okay, go ahead.
Acts 18 and verse 18. And Saul, after this, tarried there yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren, and sailed thence into Syria. With him Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head in Cenchrea, for he had a vow.
And here we go again. Both of them together. They're traveling together. Go ahead.
Verse 26, Acts 18. And he began to speak boldly in the synagogue, whom when Aquila and Priscilla had heard, they took him unto them, and expounded unto him the way of Elohim more perfectly.
So they're doing the works together. Everywhere you see Aquila, you see Priscilla right behind it. So where is this whole thing of, you can't help me do this? Why not? If you know what you've got, that's a benefit onto this man. This man is able to travel and spread the word with his wife. Go ahead.
Romans chapter 16, verse 3. Greet Priscilla and Aquila, my helpers in the Mashiach Yeshua.
Now he is still referring to both of them together. He didn't dismiss the sister. They're a team. And he said to greet both of them. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 19. The churches of Asia salute you. Aquila and Priscilla salute you much in the Adonai, with the church that is in their house.
Not in his house, their house. Go ahead.
2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 19. Salute Prisca and Aquila and the household of Onesiphorus.
All right, let's go to Judges chapter 13. We're going to start with verses 2 through 13. Okay. That's Judges chapter 13 and verses 2 through 13.
Verse 2.
Before we get started, here we saw a husband and wife constantly being referred to both of them at the same time. How many of us give the other half that opportunity to be able to be spiritually grounded as we are? The same amount of time that and patience that it was given onto you, allow that person the same amount of time and patience. But you can also push some of that time and patience by giving them a little work. Do this for me. Take care of this for me. You might be surprised how quick they excel. Because now you've given them a job that might require some research, some reading, to help you with a project that you have. And see how much further they are than if you just sit by and just let them grow on their own time. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren, and bare not.
And now with this one, we heard this one yesterday, and Priest Esaac and I laughed about this yesterday, because I had to let him know, you messing with my class. You know what I'm saying? You stepping on my class right now. But I also learned something in his class that I didn't see. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son.
And when this all started off, it mentioned Manoah. It started out giving him his due. He's the head of the house. This is about Manoah's family. He's of the Danites. And then we saw a twist. That angel didn't go to Manoah. The angel went to his wife. So, is there a problem? Is the angel out of order? Somebody gonna tell him he's out of order? But if she got the better spiritual fortitude, why should I go talk to you? Me talking to you might cause problems. Because sometimes man to man, there might be a little contention there man to man. But I go to this woman who got better spiritual fortitude. She can appease it and send that in a way that I probably will never be able to do. Go ahead.
Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto Elohim from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines.
And he has given her instructions on a male child, of how to deal with this male child and what this male child is going to do. But in most cases, we'll say, nah, the man need to deal with the man. Go ahead.
Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of Elohim came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of Elohim, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name.
The first thing she did was went and told her husband about the encounter. She didn't try to hide it from him. She didn't hold it back. She went and told him about the situation. This man came and talked to me. And we're going to see that she was a little bit wiser than her husband. Go ahead.
But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing. For the child shall be a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb to the day of his death.
And she went and gave the instructions the way it was given to her. We mentioned this yesterday. There was a problem in the garden When the serpent approached Eve, there should have been a conversation with Adam before there was eating of anything. But that didn't take place. She should have had a conversation with her husband. You know, the serpent came to me and told me to eat this, and that could have been all nipped in the bud. So at the same token, wives, when you get some information, how long does it take before you go in? Deal with your husband about it. The man of Yahweh, an angel, went to her first. Laid the situation down to her first. So that means they had a conversation. Then she went and told her husband, word for word, what was said and how we need to deal with this situation. Not just what he said, but how we're expected to deal with the situation. Because sometimes we'll leave bits and pieces out because we want a twist or a turn or a different reaction from the person that we're telling the story to. She could have left some bits and pieces out. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Then Manoah entreated Yahweh and said, O my Adonai, let the man of Elohim which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born.
Now, she gave him all the instructions of what the man said. Laid it down. But at some point, you see, he still wasn't prayed about it. Was there some doubt on his part? Were some of them misunderstanding on his part? He went and prayed about it. Go ahead.
And Elohim hearkened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of Elohim came again unto the woman as she sat in the field.
And we touched on this yesterday. He prayed about it. He said, let the man come to us. The man went to her. Not to him, not to us, to her. So, is he out of order this second time again? Manoah should have checked him and said, hey man, you out of order, man. You done came to my wife twice. Why you keep talking to my wife? I'm the head of this house. Go ahead.
But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband and said unto him, Behold, the man hath appeared unto me that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man and said unto him, Art thou the man that speaketh unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now let your words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him?
Now, he didn't say, how shall I? How shall we? This is on both of us. How shall we take care of this? That means he plans to help take care of the child. For all you brothers who have the children and say, that's your problem. You take care of the baby. Go to your mama. How shall we? Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware.
And he reiterated, I told her what she need to do. All that I told her, let her do. Let's go down to verse 20. I mean, he went into details and explained to him, but he reiterated the fact, man, I told her what she needs to do. So is it you that got a problem with listening to her? She knows what she's supposed to do. Verse 20.
For it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of Yahweh ascended in the flame of the altar. And Manoah And his wife looked on it, and fell on their faces to the ground.
I want you to stop there for a second. I want to jump up to verse 17. And Manoah said unto the angel of Yah, what is your name? That when the saying come to pass, we may do you honor. Now, when his wife told him this story, right? When you go back to verse 6, it says, the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of Elohim came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of Elohim, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told me his name. She had enough sense not to question this man. But we see where Manoah went, right? What's your name? Okay, go ahead.
But the angel of Yahweh did no more appear to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of Yahweh. And Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die, because we have seen Elohim. But his wife said unto him, if the Yahweh were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would, as at this time, have told us such things as these.
Let's go to Luke chapter 1, and we're going to read verses 5 through 20. But we see where who the big bad man, the head of the house, Yahweh gonna kill us. We done saw an angel. And the woman's the one having to say, nah, man, if Yahweh wanted to kill us, we'd be dead already. Why would he put this in our hand and then turn around and kill us? So maybe there's something there why the angel went to her twice before going to him. And here he is, the big bad man, the head of the house, scared. Mm-hmm. Luke chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 5.
Verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zachariah, of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Elohim, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Adonai, blameless. And they had no child, because that Elizabeth was barren. And they both were now well stricken in years. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Elohim in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Adonai. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Adonai standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, fear not, Zachariah, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name Johanan, John. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Adonai, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb.
Now, doesn't this sound familiar? Didn't we hear this somewhere before? Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Adonai, their Elohim. And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Adonai. And Zachariah said unto the angel, whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of Elohim, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb, and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season.
So here we see the angel went to the man, and he's talking to the man. And man to man, Chester, how am I supposed to know these things? How I know this gonna happen? So you see, sometimes it's difficult to go straight to the man. Man to man. Because now he questioning the man. The man got to turn around and say, you know what, you're gonna be dumb. You want to question me. Because sometimes we just can't take man to man that it is what it is. Let's go to verse 26.
And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from Elohim unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary.
And here again, who was the angel sent to?
Mary.
It mentions her husband, but he was sent to her. Go ahead.
And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou that art highly favored, the Adonai is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with Elohim. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahshua. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Adonai, Elohim, shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
All right, my brother. Now, in both of these situations, we see that the angel went to the woman. But at no point and no time with the information that was given to these sisters, did they take that information and usurp authority over their husbands. At no point in time did they use that information to big up their chest and to act like they were better than their husbands. So it's a two-part there on how we deal with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're privy to some information that your other half is not privy to, that doesn't put you in a higher standard or a higher position over that person.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way you deal with delivering information to your other half, so it doesn't come as if you're being boastful with that information. We keep talking about usurping. It says usurp from a compound of G846. That means it's Greek. It's a Greek word. Obsolete a worker, to act of oneself, that is figuratively to dominate, use authority over. And we see in this situation where these two sisters spoke to angels and they did not use that information to dominate over their husbands. He came to me, he didn't come to you. You ain't nobody. Because that's how we feel sometimes. Something simple as somebody knocking at the door. You got some households where the sister, what you going to the door for? I pay all the bills around here. What is that for? These sisters had the upper hand in information and still dealt with it in a righteous manner. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 25. The delivery of information can cause peace and it can cause war. It's all in your intent when you deliver it and how you deliver it. First Samuel chapter 25, and we're going to start at verse 9.
And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all those words in the name of David, and ceased. And Nabal answered David's servants and said, Who is David? And who is the son of Jesse? There be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed from my shearers, and give it unto men whom I know not whence they be? So David's young men turned their way and went again and came and told him all those sayings. And David said unto his men, Gird ye on every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. And they went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by the stuff. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master. And he railed on them.
Now, verse 9. And David's young men came, they spake to Nabal. Okay? These are soldiers. They understand something about chain of command. Okay? So they did what they were supposed to do. As far as what they know, they went to the head of the house, to the man, and spoke to him and got railed on. Now, in verse 14, but one of the young men, this is somebody who lives in the house and knows who he's dealing with. But one of the young men told Abigail. See the difference about being in the house and being outside the house? This young man, no, I can't go to him. Let me go to her. David's men, trained men, understand chain of command. Nah, the man's the head of the household. This is who we need to go talk to. When you know situations and circumstances, then you should deal with it in such a way. Certain situations, you might need to go to the wife so she can handle it and break it down later. Go ahead.
Verse 15. But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant with them when we were in the fields. They were a wall unto us both by night and day, all the while we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what thou wilt do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his household. For he is such a son of Belial that a man cannot speak to him.
So this young man knew this is somebody you can't talk to. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm going to go talk to his wife. Because this depends on the lives of everybody in this house. How this situation is dealt with, this next go around, can get us all killed, including me. There was a first go around. Can't handle the second go around the same way. Go ahead.
Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 2 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on asses. And she said unto her servants, Go on before me. Behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal.
So is that deceit? She being deceitful? Conniving? She done took all this man's stuff. Told him nothing. You see what she did? She sent somebody ahead. When the news came to her, she didn't tarry and take her time. She made haste. This is urgent. Let me deal with this now. Let's go ahead and jump to verse 34.
For in very deed, as Yahweh Elohim of Israel liveth, which hath kept me back from hurting thee, except thou hast hasted and come to meet me, Surely there had not been left unto Nabal by the morning light any that pisseth against the wall.
So there was no time to waste. Dawid was hot, and Dawid was on his way. Go ahead.
So Dawid received of her hand that which she had brought unto him, and said unto her, Go up in peace to thine house. See, I have hearkened unto thy voice, and have accepted thy person. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held the feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry with him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore she told him nothing, less or more, until the morning light.
She has some type of sense. This man is drunk. He partying. I'm not having this conversation with you right now. Because we know a drunken person can go from being merry and get the wrong news and everybody fighting in the house. Mm-hmm. She looked at that situation. She said, you can go sleep on this. You got to be able to look at the situation and judge the situation. When to break news and when to hold it to yourself. That don't mean you don't break the news. You've got people, man, they know class start 1 o'clock. All of a sudden they trying to get into a fight with you. And you know my routine. Why are you bugging me right now? You on your way out the door, trying to go to church. They know this is your normal thing every Sabbath. All of a sudden there's this problem. When did you find this out? Oh, yesterday. And you wait till now to tell me? I'm dressed and ready to go to church. And you want to spring this on me now. You who are not going anywhere. You know what? If it lasted this long, it'll have to wait till I get back. Go ahead.
Verse 37. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone.
So now there's the punch. It can really hit you because the wine going out of you. Because even if she had told him that night, let's say he's not a mean drunk, it still wouldn't have meant nothing to him. It wouldn't have touched him because the wine is touching him. He's merry. He's laughing. He probably would have laughed that off. You did what? Don't even worry about it, man. I got more of that stuff. And you know, man, you drunk. You probably woke up and forgot it all. Nah, I need you to be sober. I need you to hear what I'm saying. I need you to feel what I'm saying. And it doesn't go into exactly what she told him. Because when she got down to it and told him, you know, they were coming to kill us. That could have made a difference in the story. If I had not stopped this man, we would all be dead. And you wouldn't know no difference because you were drunk. You would have died in a drunken stupor. Sometimes that thing, whoa, wait a minute, man. I just put everybody's life in jeopardy? You mean this man was coming to kill us? So it's a different shock. Go ahead.
And it came to pass about 10 days after that Yahweh smote Nabal, that he died. And when Dawid heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be Yahweh, that hath pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and hath kept his servant from evil. For Yahweh hath returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And Dawid sent and communed with Abigail to take her to him to wife.
Even with choosing a spouse, a helpmeet, a significant other, do you sit down and wait and watch and see the attributes? That we know that this woman was going to be a benefit to his house. How many of us stop and look at that when we're choosing someone to say, how is this person going to help me in my walk? Now that you know better, you ought to do better. Why would you pick someone at this stage of your life in this walk, knowing what you know is not going to be a helpmeet in your walk? And you do that, that's the problem you brought on yourself. Let's go to Matthew chapter 19. Dawid knew enough about the way this woman took care of business. This woman came to him and dealt with him straight up. Dawid said, nah, I need this woman on my team. I got to have her. And guess what? I ain't got to kill her husband because he's dead already. Matthew chapter 19, and we're going to read verses 3 through 12.
The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
And this is what we see. Every cause which is not a cause. Sisters are being put away. And then we get these videos of why I left the Hebrew Israelites. Somewhere in there, you dig deep enough, it's the brothers. One sister says she went over to Israel and some sister tried to get her to marry some man. And when she decided she didn't want to marry the man, then the only person she knew over there stopped talking to her, stopped dealing with her. Is this what you got me over here for? Now I'm out here on my own. Now the whole culture has to get bashed because you tried to set her up and then turn your back on her? The whole culture gets bashed because some brothers don't understand what a helpmeet is? You still trying to play the old Christian game of marriage and divorce, marriage and divorce, marriage and divorce, and it's the culture that gets the blame. Not the person. They're not saying why I left this Hebrew brother named so-and-so. Why I left the Hebrew culture. Why I left the Hebrew Israelites. Because sad to say, they think they've left the Hebrew Israelites. Do you not understand that that's your ethnicity? That's like me saying why I stopped being black. And when I come through the door, what do y'all see? But I stopped being black. Go ahead, my brother.
Verse 4. And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?
Male and female. Adam's helpmeet was a female. Male and female. Go ahead.
And said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife.
And we hear it again. Leave father and mother and cleave to your wife. Leave them out of your business. Unless your father and your mother is walking in this culture and have some spiritual fortitude that they can help and not be a hindrance to your relationship. Go ahead.
And they two shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more two, but one flesh. What therefore Elohim hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
And that's the problem. How many relationships have Yahweh put together? Or is it man putting them together? Go ahead.
They say unto him, Why did Moshe then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He saith unto them, Moshe, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so.
And that is what we're dealing with. The hardness of the heart is why we got brothers out here putting these sisters away left and right. And they finding all other types of reasons of why they doing it, but check your heart. Because if your heart wasn't hard, you wouldn't be dealing with people like that. Mm-hmm. How many brothers stop and consider, if you have a daughter, do you want her to just be married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced? And not because she's fornicating, because these brothers keep giving her a bill of divorcement because of the hardness of their hearts. We have a culture. And we have to understand that part of that culture is learning how to deal with our helpmeet in a righteous way on both ends. Because we have children that need guidance. And I can tell you, if you look at it from our great-grandparents coming down to now, that relationship of marriage is completely broken. It has declined and demised. It has not gotten better. It has gotten worse over time. That's all we're going to do for this evening. Shalom.
Shalom, bro.